Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And we see them, and today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So let's get into this topic here. Everyone is still talking about the Shannon Sharpe thing, and that's why yesterday I was a bit confounded that people kept on asking us, why are you talking about this so much? I'm like, are you on Earth? Are you on planet Earth? Have you been on the internet? It's what everyone is talking about, right? Literally everyone. People like Charles Barkley and whoever, right? People want to know about the situation because, it's a very, very popular show. It involves two very popular people. It seems to be a running story at this point. No one is really surprised. There have been incidents that have taken place in the past. So, people want to hear how it got to this particular point. There's a lot of interest in it, right? So people want to know about it. If they didn't want to know, they wouldn't be watching. So, if we produce shows that people want to see, I think that's a smart thing to do. The stupid thing to do would be to do what one or two, three people have to say because they feel a type of way about something that they clicked on that nobody forced them to click on. So, as I said, everyone has been discussing this, and one of the people now talking about it is Stephen A. Smith. And he was discussing this on his No Mercy podcast yesterday. He produced a show around it, right? And I think the full episode has about 250,000 views. Up until this point, so there seems to be a lot of interest in this. So as he was discussing the entire situation, he got to a point where he basically started to extend an olive branch to Shannon Sharpe, who may be looking for a new place to work. And he basically said that he would be totally fine with him coming to work at ESPN on a reoccurring basis. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith had to say in terms of his offer to Shannon Sharpe, and then we're going to continue on with the show. So take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here.
When news was announced that Shannon Sharpe had been bought out of FS1 and he would be leaving at the conclusion of the NBA Finals, there were two things that came to my mind. That's a big loss for the show Undisputed, because Shannon matters, and that I don't know what his plans are. I don't know what he's trying to pursue. I don't know what he's after. But if Shannon Sharpe needs me, I'm happy to be here for him. And if that included him wanting to come on First Take, the bosses at ESPN know that is something I would support. Not every day, but one of those days every week, yeah. And why do I say not every day? Because you need to understand something. I apologize for this to no one. I love me some Michael Irvin. That's my brother, the playmaker. And I understand he got himself embroiled in some situation, and I have no clue what's going to happen with that. That is above my pay grade. Whatever they discover, they discover. Remember, I get to hand pick who's on First Take once they're in-house for ESPN. I don't get to bring them from the outside in without the boss's okay. We have to be honest. I'm not the boss. That's Dave Roberts. That's Jimmy Pitaro. That's Burt Magnus. That's those dudes. I answer to them. It's not the other way around when it comes to all matters pertaining to ESPN. But they know where I stand. I love me some Michael Irvin. I always want my brother with me. He ain't the only one. Keyshawn Johnson, that's my brother. We go back over 20 years, and I think he's excellent on TV discussing football. Ryan Clark, the pivot, Ryan Clark. The NFL analyst extraordinaire, Ryan Clark. Marcus Spears, a.k.a. Swagoo, my brothers. My brothers. And they ain't the only ones. Dominique Foxworth, Damian Woody, Bart Scott, and all these. I got an A-list roster. I ain't even bring up Dan Orlovsky, who is great. I didn't even bring up Mina Kimes. I didn't even bring up Jeff Saturday, who I hope returned. I miss Jeff Saturday on First Day. I don't give a damn what happened with him in Indianapolis when he became a head coach, took the job in the damn middle of the season. That's a different matter than being first take. Being on first take, hell no. But I'm just telling you right now, to be clear. If Shannon Sharpe wanted to join that roster, there's no resistance from Stephen A. I got love for Shannon Sharpe. I respect the hell out of him. And there's no doubt the man knows his football. But I ain't looking for anybody every day, because I got a whole host of contributors that I don't ever want to let go of.
So you heard his comments. Stephen A. Smith knows Shannon Sharpe. They seem to have some mutual respect from one another. Obviously, he knows Skip Bayless, who used to be his former partner at ESPN First Take. And, Stephen A. Smith said he's not really surprised at the situation, but he said that Shannon Sharpe is definitely an asset in the sports media space. I was listening to the Pat McAfee show just yesterday, and Pat McAfee touched on it, who's probably the biggest independent creator in sports media, but now he's going to be partnered with ESPN. And even they spoke about it, right? And he said how valuable he believes Shannon Sharpe will be moving forward into the future in the social media, in the sports media space. So I'm not surprised that Stephen A. Smith did that. He also did mention a particular wrinkle, which is he has no interest with working with somebody from a day in to day out basis. He likes to have a rotating list of guests or cast or whatever, however you want to call it. He likes to be debating different people on a daily basis, which makes the content very fresh because he's talking to different people and different people are giving different opinions about different things, right? So he said he wouldn't mind having Shannon Sharpe come on there once a week, right? And to discuss whatever, right? Now, is this something that Shannon Sharpe would want to entertain? Who knows? Maybe Shannon Sharpe would want to, have, a similar show like Stephen A. Smith where he's the host and he has a range of guests coming on there to talk about different things. We all have to wait and see. But if ESPN was able to recruit him in some way, shape, or form, I definitely think that would bring a lot of eyeballs to their network because Shannon Sharpe has a very big following, as it was exhibited with the Shannon Sharpe podcast and some of the other, social media platforms that are attached to that podcast. If you're looking at the TikTok, Instagram, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this really doesn't come as any surprise. It's a business move and it's a smart move. If you can recruit him to your team, it would be great. I think we all have to wait and see what Shannon Sharpe has in store. I definitely believe that Shannon Sharpe didn't just do this or make this decision on a whim. He didn't just go out there and say, well, I'm going to do this without having an action plan to execute moving forward. I definitely think that Shannon Sharpe has planned his next, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 steps. I think he knows exactly what he wants to do. I think he understands that he has a serious asset under his belt, especially now as you see that certain shows, and this was something that Dan Le Batard explained on the Dan Le Batard show, where basically now you have certain shows licensing out their content. That's essentially what Pat McAfee's doing with ESPN. He's licensing, or renting, whatever you want to call it. They're renting a show for 5 years to $17 million a year, right? And then after that, he goes back to having a show, or whatever it is. So Shannon Sharpe has a very, very big platform. So I think if he plays it well, I think Shannon could probably leverage what he's doing into an even bigger deal that's bigger than working at ESPN. But this is just my view of things from afar. So the question is simply this. Number one, do you think Shannon Sharpe is going to take up Stephen A. Smith's offer and come and work at ESPN? Or do you think Shannon is probably going to go off and do his own thing and really try to see if he can leverage what he already has and take it to the next level? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We'll catch you on the next show. Peace.